Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We're here today with David Stern. We're going to be talking about his latest production of Matilda that's coming up here in the next month. A
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Not even. April 4th.
Yeah.
So it's getting scary. We have tech this
Getting
weekend.
real.
Oh, okay. Marty, local events.
Local events. So at the Bells Falls Opera House, there's not a lot happening in the way of movies because there's a play coming. And the classic movie is on hold until it'll be back mid-April. But this Friday night, it will be the second of the Ray Masuko concert series, Dawn of the Buffalo. It's doors open at 6:30. The show is at 7:30. And I'm going to give a low ticket alert. Low ticket alert. Only 75 tickets left
Oh, boy.
as of
Yeah.
this morning. So
And there's going to be dancing.
there's gonna be dancing. Yeah, they're taking out rows of seats on the two side areas.
Which is sort of different for.
It is kind of
yeah.
different. So that I guess that's inherent to the crowd that comes for
Yeah,
Dawn of the
yeah.
Buffalo because it's kind of a jam.
Do you know that there's no Donna and there's no Buffalo?
We did, and we didn't know that until Charlie came on to talk about
Yeah.
it. That's the fascinating
Yeah,
part.
so I didn't realize that was already out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you're right.
I thought I had the big
Shocked.
news,
I
I-
thought you're gonna go spoiler alert.
I mean, you look at the poster, you think
I
to yourself,
know.
I can't wait to see the Buffalo, but
And Donna riding.
and Donna right, exactly,
on the stage
while
no less.
playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Well, no less. And then, so that's for the adults in the crowd. And then also on Friday night, happening at the Rockingham Free Public Library, sponsored by Greater Falls Family Partnership, is Family Night Out. It's Brinner and a movie, and Brinner is breakfast for dinner, so we'll
Yes.
be doing pancakes.
My son used to love Brenner.
I don't do
Yeah.
pancakes per se, but I like eggs sometimes.
Yeah.
Bacon and eggs for dinner, yummy.
And the movie can't be mentioned,
Shall
but
be remain nameless,
but I heard that you're doing Matilda.
That's true.
Yes.
And that actually, if you go to Family Night Out, there are copies of the book Matilda that will be handed out to the kids, as long as supplies last.
You might think they might have coordinated.
You might think there might be some
A
coordination.
plan. There's a plan, and it's sinister.
A conspiracy.
Yeah,
Here in
exactly.
Bellows Falls. It's
So,
They're trying to force us to watch movies.
of all of the musicals you could have done, why Matilda?
Really, I think the answer is ever since I saw it, I went to see it in London. I was taking a group of students. We had done West Side Story, and we were bringing it on tour to schools in Great Britain. And while we were there, we spent 2 nights in London, and we saw shows. And we saw Matilda, done by the Royal Shakespeare Company, and it was amazing, and I fell in love with the show. And I wanted to do it. I was like, I want to do it right away, and that was in '96.
So you did not quite right away.
And then I came back and I found out that it was going to Broadway, and then they weren't going to release the title for a long time, and then and then when it finally released it, NEYT called me up and said, I know you've been waiting to do Matilda, but we really want to do it, and we're a kids theater. So, and I said, of course, you do it. And they did it, and now it's been a few years, and now I want to do it. So just for fun, it's so much fun. The music, I don't know if you know Tim Minchin at all, but he's not like an American, he's a British composer, but he's wacky and a perfect fit for Roald Dahl, and just so creative. The music's phenomenal, and it really is like great number after great number, and it's Roald Dahl. It's a kind of a magical. I will say this: I really didn't know what I was getting into
Oh, there you go.
with this one.
Technically,
we've done
or
some hard
emotionally or plot-wise?
technically.
Oh, yes.
Technically, but also performance technique, meaning it's an enormous show. It doesn't seem that big. It's only got 30 people.
Right.
It's not like you're going to. It's not like Shrek where you're, in a lava pit and then there's a giant dragon and you're in the woods and there's a city of Duloc. And it's kind of, but it's the magical realism. It's you need telekinesis to work. You need chalkboards that write on themselves, and you need cakes that are this big that can be eaten by people, and you need glasses that fly by themselves, and things like that.
Minor little details.
And it's just been, I don't know, desks. You're in a classroom. The way they made it, there are no real transitions in the show. So you're in a musical number and it stops and the number finishes and the next line, you are in a town. And there's no musical transition to get the thing off or to put the thing on. They just were like, figure it out. Make it
So like
this
when
fast.
you're moving the set around, like normally.
So who
you
are
have
they?
a-
So there's
These are
the
screenwriters?
creators
Or
of the
or
piece,
of
of the original material. There's no transition music. There's no. They used to make it back in the day. They had this thing called an in-one scene, which was the curtains would close. They'd have a big scene, and then they'd close the front curtain, and two people would be out, and they'd go.
Hey,
And those were initially designed to facilitate
that transition.
whatever was happening
okay.
behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Then they'd reopen to the new scene. But often some care for transitions. I love the demands of this. I mean, we are outside the school in the playground, and then we're inside the school having a lesson, and they literally are one after another. And we're doing the school with these giant gates, the outside, and then all the desks are there. So 9 desks, 10 seconds.
Wow.
So you love the challenge. How is the cast?
They too, the amount of dance and the numbers, the material, it is also challenging on them. But the technology, the integration of, we are preparing. I had somebody coming who's done a lot of shows for us and led backstage a lot. And she came the other day for her first time. She was early and she had and went over everything early all day and left in tears because she
There's too
just
much.
saw what was coming, the train that was. The whole backstage is like a machine. There are 5 wagons of desks that move on tracks. There are things that come in from above. There's a giant wall that opens in the back that scenic pieces come through from behind.
Wow.
And
Hard to tell from the set that you see
I
when
know,
you walk
'cause we've
in.
seen sort of.
that's
Yeah.
that's the base.
Okay.
That whole thing that we've revealed to everybody is really the base. So all of that, one of the big freakouts was, can we move everything? Is there enough room behind to take the gates and move the office and blah, 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 and inches.
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
Inches.
Is that what you were talking about when you were talking about the rigging that you had to do from the top down? You were talking about rigging and how it was like.
So I needed to be able to hang things virtually anywhere. We've hung the back of the set that is made of cardboard, but is 20 by 30 feet. It's that letter collage.
Yeah.
Those giant doors open to let things in. Those are hanging on track that we installed. That in order to do it, we clamped together all the rope hung pipes of the theater and with pipes that go the other direction. So it became a giant rigid sort of grid. And then that extended to places that it didn't exist before to hang the new track so that we could work.
So how did you learn this science? It sounds almost like this could be like the science guy project. You could say, look at the engineering involved in
This is my master's degree.
Is it really?
Scenic design is my master's degree.
Okay.
So that is actually what
That's a reveal.
what
That's
I'm
really
what
something.
I'm trained to do. So it's exciting to do it here at this. I've had for the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 6, 7 people full time, volunteering, but 8 hours a day building this thing. I sometimes I talk about it like
It's like the Taj
this is a
Mahal.
joke, but I talk about it like the great cathedrals.
Yeah.
Because the great cathedrals were built by a community that sort of lived they were built in
they
these
lived there,
towns. For 100 years, they built them, and a lot of people would move to the communities to make them, but they were built out of a mission, really, for God and all that stuff. But
Which
really a wild accomplishment. And sometimes I feel like we're doing, on a tiny scale, really extending to see what we can make,
that is amazing.
and that's fun.
So when people come, I think like so if you've seen the Matilda movie, then you're trying to think, how's it going to translate? So this actually puts a lot of background on how you're going to have movement and all the things from the Matilda movie. And then what is, sort of for people that aren't familiar with Matilda, what's the basic Matilda storyline?
It's a story of there's some complex layers to the story when you get into the story within the story and how it reflects upon the story. But it's a story of a little girl who is born to some parents who do not like or want her.
Yeah.
And that sounds as sad as it really is. Oddly, it's Roald Dahl. So really, we don't like the parents. We make fun of the parents. Excuse me.
That's all right.
So it's not like, and it's not a dark drama. Certainly, it's but the things that are touched. It's a way to talk about that schools are not always benign or kind, that parents are not always benign or kind, that what it means for a child to stand up for themselves, or as I'm thinking about it these days, what it means for people to stand up against things that are bigger than they are, and that there's a great line in the song, if you always take it on the chin and bear it, you might as well be saying you think that it's okay, and that's not right. So there's actually a lot in the material, and I credit both Roald Dahl for the original, but Tim Minchin for finding a way to boil that down and keep the really essential.
How to
the
make that
characters,
timeless, yeah.
The characters are hysterical. They're just over the top. The parents, unbelievable. And there's Russians and espionage it's all larger than life in a wacky way, but tells this important tale, I think. I think Roald Dahl was always trying to talk about things. It's also interesting, Roald Dahl, it turns out, I didn't actually know this till we started the show, but he's a big anti-Semite.
Is that right?
Which, written down, it's not contested or anything, it's a fact. But I'm often wonder what we do with the work of people,
do you cast their work?
Woody Allen, do I want to do I want to throw all of Woody Allen's work in the trash can? And I don't. But I think I can separate how I feel about and relate to the human being and the work. Anyway, it's an interesting topic.
What I always find interesting is that's why we like to have you on the show ahead of time, because you talk about all the different layers of the show and the different things that if you just went and you're kind of like, oh, it was entertaining, it was nice, there was musicals, there were songs, but you always point out that there's more. There's more to it. There's depth. So every time I go, it's much more entertaining to watch and to be like, oh, that's what David was talking about. And now the whole behind the scenes about the set is going to be really fun to watch that and to see, oh wow, how did they fit all that back there? How are they going to do this?
If it works.
Okay, don't say if.
When it works. All my technicians now, they're backstage. This is the new mantra backstage. We're too far to stop now. That's the attitude.
That's it.
I'm like, is this going to be like,
over the cliff.
don't speak. We've gone too far. It can't be stopped. It's enormous. It's just the car, just the surround that you see when
that
you go
cardboard,
to
yeah.
Dawn of the
It's-
Buffalo
it's
or
like
whatever.
literally
It's an awful lot.
top to bottom.
But that
set.
doesn't include the desks or the gate or the office or the other side of that or Miss Honey's house. We have a house that comes out and spins and then opens. So it's like this little house that's as big as this, but it ends up as this little desk. Then it's 13 feet wide because it kind of opens
wow.
like wings into an
Oh,
open
neat.
house. It's I stole that. I mean, I saw the
Well, yeah.
design, but I'm not claiming it. But I'm claiming that I
Figured it
thoughtfully,
Redesigned
I
it.
thoughtfully stole it.
Yes, that's good. But you always have a little like, I'm trying to remember the scene in Fiddler that I loved with the ghost and the.
Frumacera.
Yeah, what a scene! That was great.
Yeah, I mean, I do like. I think there is an expectation on us now
Yeah, to
that
do something like
scenery
that.
be that there be some magic in it.
Uh-huh, yeah.
That's another thing about Matilda. You know, we seem to have these different venues. Like at Next Stage, the stuff we've been doing at Next Stage is much more pared down and about the actor and the music and the work. And these are really sort of extravaganzas. These are.
Well, it's nice to see. Again, I'll go back to, probably I've said this before, but it's nice to see the theater being used for really elaborate
Yeah,
theater.
exactly. You couldn't
Like,
do that.
Really being used to the level that you use it and to the level that you bring in the really different plays, you had the classic musicals last year, a classic last year. You've done some other classics, but some kind of outside the box things that people might not. The average person might not go to see Matilda the musical because they might not know all of this. They've seen the movie, they've read the book, it is what it is, but it sounds like there's much more than what
And
it
I
is
will
what it
say,
is.
my opinion: the movie,
Really?
the musical. But I have an opinion about that anyway. I love live people with
Yeah,
live people.
yeah,
There's much more risk in it. It's full of these chances and changes, and it's very alive. And there's mistakes, but there's also something really, to me, it's kind of holy or spiritual about that communion, especially in a world now where we're a little more isolated. I think it's an art form that will not die because of that.
Well, you definitely play the opera house like a musical instrument. You take it and you take. It's almost like a cello, or you take its potential and you pull it all together and
That's
you
very
show it
sweet.
out.
I actually really like that. We've been talking about how tight the tolerances are on this show. I mean, you have wagons, they come out, there are 3 on a side, there's about 4 inches between them where these walls come through. And then there's the fabric and how these things run without snagging, without with people crossing, with 30 people backstage, and then this is why she went home crying.
Now,
But I'm saying with all of your shows, not just this show, but with Fiddler and with the Barber and
Sweeney,
Todd,
yeah.
Sweeney
I mean
Todd.
the sets with Urinetown. You just take the opera house and you play it. It's like amazing.
Well, you couldn't have made me happier. I do love that's the thing, is to make it sing with and
Yes.
for the people.
Yes. Or as it like a
You know what I read?
like a fine musical
I will
instrument.
brag. I recently, my wife sent me an article. It was in, God, what was it in? It was off the internet, and it was like about the 9 liveliest towns in Vermont for seniors. was the title of the article, and Bellows Falls, and Vanessa's like, Bellows Falls made the list, and I go down, and what it said was, its arts and theater scene was with its natural beauty and blah blah and rustic charm, and I really am excited to help support the making of a magical place.
Yeah.
You have talked a lot about that in shows that you've, when you've come here, to say that when a community has a vibrant arts and art scene, that it is an economic driver.
And
And people don't see it that way. They don't see that it brings people to town. It brings in the person that doesn't live there 24/7. I mean, yes, it definitely enhances the person that lives there, people that live there, but it brings people in and is a total economic, it puts you on the map.
And I
Gets
will
you on a
say,
list.
the one thing nobody remembers, we just sit around and eat and drink and go to the coffee shops, and the 30, 40, 50 people that rehearse every day, and when we're building, I'm back and forth. I can most often found back and forth to the hardware store.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I've
That's
seen
all
you
that-
quite a bit
Yeah.
in downtown BF lately, and that's about that's about
I'm
the
just
location.
hardware
Yeah,
store and
yeah,
back.
yeah.
So, we really do hope to
Yeah.
support, and I think it's true. I think the money stays. I think arts money spent locally stays, just like any local spending.
Now, are you still looking, I know at one time you were looking for volunteers for front of the house? Was it ushers and things like
Yeah,
that?
if anybody's out there that really wants to make me happy, it's running crew to help make this backstage crazy happen. Anybody who wants to work on this show, front of house ushering, if you want to volunteer, you can see the show for free. So nobody could say they can't see the show. Come for free. But also, if you want to work backstage every night for every show, because you have no life, then come join us.
Or you want to give back?
Yeah, or you want to give
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
better reason.
It's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But it's a lot of time.
So it's happening, give us the details of the dates and the times.
So we open April 4th. We run that weekend, 4, 5, 6. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 shows on Saturday. And the next weekend, it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's the 10th, 11th, and 12th, as we now see on the screen. And for tickets and information, you can go to bellows-falls-operahouse.com.
Nice.
Special events / Matilda.
So I'm sure that you have something, what's on the horizon?
So
There's always something that's
here's a
kicking
thriller. Well,
around.
we are actually planning to do Company at Next Stage in November. I'm directing my daughter and Liam Johnson, who was the boy in Sweeney. He's actually got a big role in Matilda. He was our Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, I forgot about
He's
that
a
one.
wonderful performer. He and my daughter are going to do a very sort of serious, deep, interesting drama at Wild Goose in August. And then, I don't know how many remember, we were about to open Cabaret
Yes.
Yes.
in COVID. It was about 2 days from opening Cabaret. There was a lot of pain, and so nobody was ready, but I believe, and I will admit to the fact that now that we are back to this administration, I am planning
back.
to do Cabaret,
Cabaret?
as my next
As your next spring musical?
spring musical.
Wow.
That's awesome. That was one of the probably worst things about that whole COVID weekend
Oh,
was because we had
nightmare.
tickets. I love, that's one of my favorite
I mean, honestly,
plays.
I felt so excited about the production that we had, but things happen, and I am actually co-directing Matilda with a woman named Hallie Flower, who was the executive director of NEYT in Brattleboro for 5, 6, 7 years.
New England Youth Theater.
Yes.
Just
New England Youth Theater, and she's a very talented, highly trained director, and it's been great to work with her, and we plan to do Cabaret together also. I've actually never collaborated well. I don't play well with others, but she just really, we seem to see it the same way, so it's easy to walk away.
Good.
And it allows me, I have this master's in technical theater, and it allows me, I'm actually shifting a little bit. I still need my hand in with the actors, but she took more of that, which is exciting.
So we have just about a minute left. I think it's important to point out to folks that are watching that, there's an opportunity to donate to Wild Goose. You have an ability to do it very easily on your site, because these things don't always come about for free.
No,
There's
and
a
of
lot.
course if we didn't have donations, we wouldn't exist. So it is, we try to make a living off of our earned income, There is no nonprofit, I don't think, that earns its entire living off
No.
of, without any donations or support. So if you feel like supporting, that's great. We have actually, I will say, I feel very supported in the community.
Good,
And,
good.
we are surviving. I have not taken my paycheck this month because our cash flow is very, very low, but it will get, after the show, it'll go
Yes,
up.
Yes,
And we're alive.
awesome. So
Good.
make sure you get your tickets. If you can't go to the show and you still want to support Wild Goose, is wildgoose.com and donate button.
And if you feel you really struggle to pay the ticket prices, there are passes at the local libraries. And you can get a pass and come for nothing.
Perfect.
Great. Perfect.
Thank
Well,
you,
that's it
David.
for this week. We'll see you next
Thank
week
you.
on the feed.